Hello people, this is a 1967 Rockwell 14-inch engine lathe, gear head lathe. And I decided to make a couple videos because when I purchased this, and even still today, there's extremely limited videos on these things. It's hard to see how things work and things like what goes bad on them. So I decided to make some videos and put on there so when other people are looking to buy them, they got some kind of reference to come to. This video is going to be about what to look for when you're buying them. The main costly things that can go bad, which really it's only two things that you can't see, that you'll be able to see if you take this top off. And that is, what they'll do is they'll bust teeth off of this gear, and they'll bust the ears off of this one. See how this engages this right here? They'll bust them off too. Well, they'll round them off. And how they round them off right there is they'll have it, this is neutral. You turn that to put it in neutral. You have to have it neutral to have it in back gear. So say they're finishing up with back gear. So they just leave the thing running and then they go to stick that back in. And it'll go back in, especially if there's no chuck on it. If it's just sent between centers. But before it goes in, it bounces across 10 or 15 times and it destroys it. So that's one thing to look for. And the other thing is the teeth broke off. And how they get broke off is you guessed it, it's engaged in the back gear and they've crashed this into here. And you can actually see a mark in mine where they've crashed it once, twice. The fella that owned this used it for reaming, and I think what he was doing is starting a reamer and then walking away and forgetting it because it was crashed several times. So, of course, that's all fixed now. I had to make new gears, and they was $800 to have those two gears made. So if you're looking at purchasing one of these and you have a suspicion that they're bad or you don't want to risk it, if you figure it's worth $1,800, just obviously offer them $1,000 and figure on $800 for gears. Maybe even a little less, depending on what you figure your labor's worth for getting in there and changing them. Mine, I give $600 for this, and then had to spend $800 for gears. So I got $1,400 in it. And then recently I just replaced the bearings, but I've had it like 3 years. So I don't know if it was bad from the get-go. They wasn't extremely bad, but I figured I'd just go and replace them. That was $118 for the bearing up here, and I think it was $22 for each one of these bearings. There's two of them. But other than that, that's really all the money I put into it. Some elbow grease cleaning it up. So, I said I replaced my gears. Here's the old ones. I actually made the blanks. I made both blanks and then had a fella cut the teeth in it. And actually, if you look at this one, you can see where he counted the teeth. He counted twice, actually. You can see double dots on some of them. And this is an 80-tooth gear. And that's the gear that's back here, the one they bust up. So let's look and see what it looks like when it's busted up. So there you can see some teeth missing. Now they actually patched this one, but it was half done correct. I was told this is fine to do this, but then you have to remachine the teeth. Well, they put the pins in, and then they just simply ground them, eyeballed them, which is a no-no. So there's one spot. There's another spot, and then of course there's a few spots where it almost busted the teeth off, like here, here. By not doing that correctly, what that did is, if you see this row of dents going down through here, what that did is those pins started destroying the clutch half, and you can see the row of dents in it. Flip it this way. So this gear started destroying this gear, and then this gear in turn transferred that destruction back to this gear. So they started destroying each other. So that's that one. This one here I fixed and used it for a while and then had a new one made. But this one can be fixed, usually. If they didn't do this number with the pins and start destroying the outside of it. And all you have to do is to fix it is you just simply make these ears, because they'll be all rounded over. You can just simply mill them down a little more narrow, square them up, and then you can just simply make a new one of these right here. This is just a simple ring with a notch in it, a keyway, and a set screw. Very easy to make. But that's no big deal, but in my case they pinned it. Now if your back ear is missing teeth, obviously when you're buying one of these, the best thing to do is pull this off. And you have 7, 5/16, 18 bolts that should be in there. Socket caps. I'm not sure what size they are. I think they're quarter. Yes, they're quarter inch Allen. Now they could have a hex head in here like they did mine. They had hex head up here. So in other words, a pack of Allen wrenches and an adjustable wrench, and you can get in here very easily. So that's what to look for when you're buying one of these. Now how to tell without getting in there? Obviously, if there's teeth missing, if you put this thing, let's put it in back gear. To put it in back gear, you got to turn this and pull this. All right, now it's in back gear. So if there's teeth missing, it might actually be better to come back here, actually. If you sit here and turn this, which it's hard for me to do one-handed, but if you turn this with it in back gear, eventually it's going to hit a spot where there's no teeth. Well, then obviously your chuck's going to quit turning. This here, if you engage it, let me disengage back gear. Where's my notch? There's my notch. Right now it's in neutral, now it's direct drive. Mine was so bad that it would actually, while it was running, especially when you took a cut, especially if you took any kind of interrupted cut, this handle would actually start turning. It would until eventually it popped out because it was so rounded, it was pushing it out of the groove. It was forcing it out when you put pressure on it. So conceivably, I don't know if it'll work, I'm just kind of guessing, if you engage that and maybe sit here and went like this, you might be able to see that handle wiggling, trying to disengage. I don't know. The best thing I can tell you if they won't let you look in here. But like I said, if you think something might be bad, just play it safe. And if it's worth $1,800, and these things are worth up to, I think, $2,400 if it's the one that's fully loaded, because as I mentioned before, you can't get parts for these, and parts are very, very hard to find. I looked for over almost 2 years to find the study rest. I still have not found a taper attachment. So if you found one of these, it was really nice paint job. Say it's like it looks like a few years old. It's just really nice. It has a taper attachment, has a study rest, and has your I guess it's your spindle brake up here. I would say $2,400 if it's in that nice a shape and nothing's broke on it. If this thing here was mechanically sound when I first bought it, say the gears was good, I would have, as it is right now, I probably would have give $1,800 for it because I couldn't find one. I was really looking for one. I think I mentioned I only give $600 for it though, and then had to put a lot of work in getting them gears fixed. So it all depends on how bad you need it and what your area is like. These do not, bigger lathes just do not come up in my area. When they do, they're like huge. They're like 30 feet long or some god-awful thing that you just can't use. But I was looking for, ideally I think a 16-inch would have been awesome. But a 14-inch come up, and I was able to use my tooling. Over the years, I acquired a bunch of CA tooling and one inch turning tools and all, and I could use them with this lathe. If one any smaller, wouldn't be able to use them because of your height here. So that was one of my main points for getting this. The other thing to look for, which is no big deal, you're probably most likely going to have to do something to these levers, this lever, and your feed lever here. All three of them was screwed up on mine. This one had a pin busted off here. It was adjusted incorrectly. This one had the pin pushed down on it. This one has a pin on it, so when you pull out on it, there's a keyway in this thing here that comes out and then leads to a ID groove, which the ID groove goes around, where there's a pin sticks out here. So once you pull this out, it reaches the ID groove, and then you're able to turn it, and it doesn't pop back out. Well, that pin was pushed in, and it would pop back out. So I had to do that. And this here, they had, behind this, they had washers jammed. They took it apart, put washers behind it. Well, there's actually a neat little way to adjust this. It's got an adjustment on it, but it's kind of weird how it works, but it works really neat. I might make a video on that. So that's the main things. And oh yeah, mine, the sight bubbles was busted. I don't know if the glue deteriorated and they fell out, or somebody, I don't know, if they's busted. So I had to, and they actually had this one tapped to a bigger tap. So I went and got brass plugs and tapped it out better, put the plugs in there, and then had some of these actual sight bubbles that I put in there. I did the same thing over here. So your sight bubbles may be busted too. So that's about the gist of what to look for when purchasing one of these. Hope this helps somebody make some informed decisions. Like I said, there's not much information video-wise on these, and now you know what to look for. Anyways, thanks for watching, and good luck.